Welcome to the Bird's Nest Podcast. I'm Joe Donahue. Thank you so much for joining us. Friend of the show, Merrill Reese, concluded his broadcast of the NFC Championship game with this announcement.
Attention, air traffic control. This flock of eagles is heading to New Orleans.
Now, it's no secret that Eagles fans travel well, but getting to the Super Bowl can be an expensive proposition. As of Friday morning, tickets were going at over $4,500 on TickPick, not a sponsor, with many prices going for much more. But even if you don't want a ticket to the game itself and you just want to be in New Orleans in that Super Bowl environment, anytime that you're booking last-minute travel to the Super Bowl host city, it's an expensive proposition. And the travel packages that the NFL and other companies offer might not be the most economical solution for you. Fortunately, we're here to help ease that burden. And joining me on the podcast today is a notable personal finance creator on YouTube, a Philly native, and a diehard Eagles fan, a master of the credit card rewards game, Daniel Braun. Daniel, thank you so much for stopping by.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Joe. Happy to help out in any way here.
Absolutely. And you are an Eagles fan. Before we get into the meat and potatoes of this episode, what were your thoughts about the game, the season? Are you getting excited for the Super Bowl?
Oh man, I'm pumped. I can't wait. It's like a revenge game here from 2 years ago, so I'm ready to get back at the Chiefs. Yeah, I've loved watching them this entire year. It's been especially nice just seeing Saquon come into Philly. I'm a Penn State guy, so I was there at Penn State when he was there dominating. So as soon as we got him, I bought that Kelly Green Saquon jersey, and I've been rocking it as much as I can. So I can't wait to put that on every day for the next week, and just but no, it's been a great season, and I think they're going into this really strong, a lot of momentum. I think I like our odds against the Chiefs right now. It's going to be a great game, though.
Awesome. Yeah, and that's really cool that you were there while he was playing at Penn State. That's got to have been a really awesome experience for you.
Definitely, yeah, it was great to watch. He was a year behind me, so I saw him there probably for 2-3 years, something like that. So he was huge.
Awesome. Now, you are a big believer in the whole credit card points system. You've spent a lot of time, and that's really what you do on YouTube is helping people utilize credit card points. Many people accrue those over the course of the day and over the course of their months and years of making purchases. A recent report actually came out indicating that many Americans aren't using these rewards for their everyday purchases. Why is it important to earn and burn, so to speak, on these kinds of rewards?
Yeah, honestly, so many people sit on their points for too long, and the thing with credit card points is they get devalued pretty easily and pretty commonly. So the longer they sit in your account being unused, it's not like it's an investment account of any kind. You're not really getting any interest. So you're kind of at the whim of these credit card companies, the banks, the airlines, hotels. They could change the terms and the prices of these points and what they're actually worth at any time. So as time goes on, you kind of see these points get devalued. So you want to take advantage of these deals that you find really as soon as possible. There's no advantage to like holding on to your points. So earning and burning is definitely that's the term that we kind of use in the industry, and that's my mindset around it. So for an occasion like a trip down to New Orleans, I think it's a good opportunity for anybody that's been looking for a reason to use their credit card points. And there's a few ways to go about that here that we'll get into. I think it's a perfect opportunity for people to go ahead and do that coming from the Philly area or wherever you are based in the country. We're kind of assuming Philly area, but Eagles fans are everywhere. So if you can get down to New Orleans using your credit card points, I think it's going to be a pretty good way to do that.
Very cool. Yeah, that's really important there. The whole devaluation situation is a very real thing, especially as we go along as consumers, and we see those all the time. So we're going into the Super Bowl week, and there's no real better way for an Eagles fan to utilize their points than to get down to New Orleans, whether it be on a flight, whether it be traveling down there and getting a hotel. What recommendations do you have for fans who might be considering using this route?
Yeah, so just high level stuff here. Be flexible. There's a lot of nonstop routes. There's a couple of budget carriers like Southwest that have opened up some more flight availability for this specific occasion out of Philadelphia. So the prices there, they're a little pricey with Southwest, but they're not as bad as some of the other bigger carriers like American. So you can always look at using one of those budget friendly ones. I'd say be open to like a stopover somewhere. So I'm seeing a lot of flights here where you can stop over in somewhere in Florida or in Charlotte or even Texas. I've seen some flights where stop over for an hour and make your way to New Orleans that way, and you can save quite a bit of cash or points. There's some very good points deals if you're just willing to be patient and do a one stop type of flight versus nonstop. I've done it plenty of times. I was in New Orleans back in October, and I stopped over in Atlanta, and it was worth it. It saved me some money, and it allowed me to use points to do that. So a lot of times, credit card points you can't always redeem them for nonstop things. So if you're able to find a way to use it for a one-stop flight, then that's a good option. For hotels, it's going to be really tough because New Orleans is sort of like there's only so many options, and these hotels in for many of them, I guess, have been sold out for a while. And so any availability you're going to see, prices are astronomical, and the hotels really have no incentive to open up a word space. So they're pretty much like a lot of the hotels you'll see like not accepting points. So Airbnbs are a good option that you can look into if you're going down there with a bunch of people. I was still seeing some Airbnb availability, still expensive, but not as bad as hotels for what was left. There's also the option to fly into Louis Armstrong Airport and then go a little bit west over to Baton Rouge. It's obviously not as good as being in New Orleans, but it's not as far as you might think. It looks like it's about an hour 10 to hour and a half, depending on traffic type of ride. And there's a few other hotels, Marriott's and Hyatt's and stuff like that over there that you can look into, where there's plenty of availability and cash prices are not so bad, but points prices are dirt cheap. So if you're willing to be a little flexible and take some of the savings, from that you would have paid for paying astronomical cash prices in New Orleans, you can take those savings and maybe hire a driver and just go down there with a group of people, get a driver, get a bus, something like that. Obviously, going to be tough to put together last minute here, but yeah, if you're flexible in that way, I think you can really actually make the Super Bowl trip on a budget and get down there to be where everybody is.
Awesome. Now, one of the things that you indicate during your or in your content is one of the important ways to maximize the value of your rewards from credit cards is to transfer points out. So not utilizing the direct portals that credit card companies might offer, but to transfer points out and take advantage of any potential transfer bonuses. How does that work, and what bonuses might Eagles fans looking to travel to New Orleans should they be aware of?
Yeah, so generally, when you're using the credit card issuers' travel portals, you're going to get a fixed rate of redemption, whether that is 1 cent per point, where 10,000 points is worth $100, or it could be a little bit more, where you might get 1.25 to 1.5 cents per point if you have certain Chase credit cards. But generally, if you're booking stuff inside of these credit card issuer travel portals, they've been known to actually inflate their prices compared to what you might see in other third-party websites. So if you're booking something, you think you might be getting a deal inside a credit card issuer's travel portal, but it's probably not as good as transferring points would be. And so that's really where I come in, is trying to identify and help people understand the options they have for transferring points. Even if you're booking something as crazy as it sounds, say, we're an American Airlines hub here in Philadelphia. So it's that's generally what I fly a lot. I almost never actually transfer or redeem American Airlines miles directly. I typically book through what's called an airline alliance. And so they work with other airlines in One World Alliance, is what American Airlines is a part of. And we'll get into some of that stuff. But there's ways to book American flights through Alaska Airlines. There's ways to book it through some international airlines as well, Qatar and British Airways and some of those. So that's where it gets a little more complex. That's where you have to maybe watch a few of my videos and see how these examples work step by step. But I'll try to at least give some high level things here. I have a good resource. It's a transfer partner guide that's free that I could share here with your audience that could help here as well. But yeah, I think we're going to go through some basic things here that'll make transferring points not super complicated.
Awesome. And we're talking with personal finance creator Daniel Braun, who is Big Eagles fan from the Philly area. So Daniel, what would a Philly sports fan be? What would this process look like as they're moving through this or as they're moving through the process of potentially booking? Are there any big deals that are out there that they should be aware of? What do you have to share with us as you've taken a look into this?
Yeah, so I'm happy to go ahead and share my screen here, and I kind of have a whole bunch of tabs open. So the place that I always start with is just Google Flights. Just type in Google Flights. You want to enter in Philadelphia to New Orleans, and we're going to assume here you're flying in on Friday. We'll say Friday, February 7th. Whole bunch of flights. You can identify, nonstop versus one-stop flights. But there's a lot of options here. So American Airlines, like I said, it's pretty common. There's also these Southwest flights for $361. So that's something there. Now, what you want to do from there is just after you see your options, we say, okay, well, Southwest here. That's one thing that we could be using. So we want to search over on their website, and we're going to see here some cash prices. You just probably want to look at this one a getaway fare, which is going to be their lowest fare. And there's plenty of things available. Obviously, $404, $361. It's not the end of the world. It's a little higher than what most people would want to pay. For Southwest, it's pretty simple. If you want to book in points, whether you have Southwest points or if you have Chase Ultimate Rewards points, they transfer directly to Southwest. To see what the points price here is, you would just click this points thing at the top of their website. And that's going to show you that, okay, we have 29,000 points for this flight, 26,000 points for this flight. But what you want to remember here is sometimes it can make sense to book in the travel portal. Sometimes it can make sense to transfer points. This is where we get into the nitty-gritty things, and you need to understand how the math kind of works. But what you want to do is calculate cent per point value. And I don't want to get super complex here because this isn't meant to be like a points masterclass or anything. But if we know that, okay, well, so we're gonna take this as an example, the 450 flight, right? It's nonstop. So the points price is 26,652 points plus 560. The cash price for this 450 flight, that's going to be $361. To see the cent per point value and decide if it's a good deal to transfer points to book this versus book it in a travel portal or something, we would take $361. We want to then go, that's the cash price. We then want to go to the points price, and we're going to do $361 minus the cash price of the taxes and fees, 560 here. So 361 minus 560 is going to get us 355 and 40 cents. That is essentially the cash difference between you're paying some cash, whether you're booking it in points or whether you're just paying outright in cash. So that difference right there, $355, we're going to then divide that by the 26,652. That's the amount of points you'd have to transfer or have with Southwest. And that's going to give us a cent per point value of 1.33 cents per point. And just from my experience, I know that that's what Southwest points are generally worth if you're transferring Chase points over to Southwest, or if you have Southwest points or miles already in your account here. So 1.33 cents per point is actually not terrible. It's better than the typical 1 cent per point you might get with some other issuers if you're booking in their travel portal. It's better than if you have, say, the Chase Sapphire Preferred, where you're getting 1.25 cents per point if you're booking in Chase's travel portal with that card. So that's one option here. If you have 26,652 Chase points, or if you just have that sitting in your Southwest account, not a bad deal. So that's my first thing I'd recommend if you're flying out of the Philadelphia area. Second thing, obviously, like I said, American Airlines, big city here, and or a big hub here in Philadelphia. So that's typically what you're thinking about flying, and there are a few nonstop flights that are going on right now. So what I did was I went over to their website, and I am gonna have to reload this. Let's see, it's gonna make me restart this. I had it all pulled up here, and then it went away. It timed out. So let's just see. So we're gonna go and search Philadelphia to MSY for their airport. We're gonna search on February 7th, and we're just gonna look and see the cash prices for now. Okay, so this is where we get to all these crazy high cash prices, $1,900, right? So we're not trying to pay that. So if you don't want to fly Southwest or you want to get in for a little bit cheaper, what we can do here is we can go ahead and we're going to search actually by points now. So for that same Philadelphia to MSY flight, February 7th, I'm going to click on redeem miles, and I'm going to search that way. And by the way, I like to search for one-way flights because typically it's just better to book one way unless like there's occasions when round trip makes sense, but one way just allows ultimate flexibility. You can make travel adjustments on the fly, and when you're dealing with award seats, it's better just to do one way.
I was going to ask about
Um,
that because I mean,
yeah,
Eagles fan, if we win on Super Bowl Sunday, Eagles fans are going to have to get back for the parade. So
that's right. Yeah, maybe stay down there an extra day and fly back Tuesday, but get back for the parade on what would be Wednesday, maybe. I don't know. We don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but whoever wins the Super Bowl, they're going to have to get back for the parade and they're in their respective city. But yeah, no. So you see, even through this, a lot of these prices are still pretty high for 100,000 American Airlines miles just for economy class for these nonstop flights. So this is where we get into thinking about potentially stopping over in another city. So I will actually go ahead and I'll sort this by like the cheapest by clicking that button right there. And what we can see as we do that is we start to see some better deals. Now, this flight here, this is Philadelphia, and it's stopping over in LA, which obviously we don't want to do that. It's flying across the country. It's 12 hours. We don't want to do that. But here's pretty reasonable. Here's one that's stopping over in Miami, 6:55 flight out of Philly, stopping in Miami. You get in just after midnight, and this is going into Saturday morning. And here we have 11,500 American Airlines miles. So right there, the cash prices, we're just going to assume, all those cash prices, we're going to assume was $500, $600. Already right there, you're getting a great deal. So 11,500 miles right here. That works very well. If I was going down to New Orleans, I would probably take that. Not everybody has American Airlines miles, and actually, what you'll find is that credit card points don't transfer to American. So no major points currency at the moment transfers to American Airlines. But like I said before, American Airlines is a part of One World Alliance, and they partner with other airlines like Alaska Airlines. And it's kind of complicated. So what I did was for my channel, I have this transfer partner guide where you can see the different credit card points currencies at the top here. And American Airlines, this is One World Alliance, and this is all the other airlines that are in One World where you can potentially book American Airlines flights. So what I like to do is use Alaska Airlines, and they work directly with a company called Built. They're a credit card that lets you pay rent with that card. Not everybody has this card, but what a lot of people do have are American Express points. And so this is something that's not even shown on this transfer partner guide, but this is a little hack here. This is something that's it's just recently become a thing in the points and miles world. Is that if you have American Express points right now, you can transfer American Express to Hawaiian Airlines directly, and Hawaiian actually just merged with Alaska Airlines. And so then you can take those Hawaiian points and miles and transfer them directly over to Alaska. So the order would be Amex to Hawaiian, Hawaiian to Alaska. You have to have accounts with, Hawaiian and Alaska, and you're just going to link those, go into your settings. Um, but when you do that, you're able to then transfer Amex points essentially to Alaska Airlines. And then when we go over to Alaska's website, we're going to see a lot of availability as well with again, if you have Amex points, there's a way to book American Airlines flights by doing this. So here we have, I'll show you a couple days. There's not too much availability here on Alaska for Friday. Let's see if this loads. But here we have actually, I think this is that exact same flight. Philadelphia to New Orleans, stopover in Miami for an hour. It's an easy stopover. And it's 12,500 miles plus 19 bucks in fees. Again, this is American Airlines booked through Alaska Airlines, and it's a really good deal. So to understand that, again, you transfer Amex to Hawaiian, then to Alaska, and you book that. You're just gonna have to do this search on your own to see what's available. We can search on other days as well. But essentially, you could save a lot of money by doing this. And again, this transfer partner guide, I'll pass this along to Joe so we can link that for anybody that wants to check it
absolutely.
out.
Yeah, that link will be in the description in our YouTube page. So definitely check that out. And we'll also throw that link up on our website once this video goes live.
There you go. Here's one even this is Saturday, so you'd be getting it a little later. But if you want to fly first class, you could even do it with a stopover in Charlotte. Get in just after midnight on Super Bowl Sunday, and you pay 20,000 miles plus $19. You get first class. So if you want to just travel in style, you could do that as well. Um, but I think honestly, a quick flight like this, just down the East Coast, economy is just fine, and that'll get the job done for pretty cheap. So my advice here, again, there's either Southwest nonstop. I think if you're just going to pay the cash price, or you have some Southwest points, or Chase points you could transfer to Southwest, then that's a perfectly fine option. But if you're able to maneuver and do this fancy footwork with the whole Alaska Airlines thing, then this is a good way to fly American. Um, One last one to mention, because I think that covers it pretty well for getting down there. But you could, if you wanted to, if you're closer, maybe you're up in Bucks County or something like that, you want to fly out of Newark. I've done that plenty of times too. So Newark is a United hub. So you can do that as well, and with that, you could just run a simple search over on United's website, where you can go search Newark to New Orleans, see what's available. Chase points transfer again with this transfer partner guide. Here's Chase points. United is a direct transfer partner with Chase, so you could use that and build points transfer to United as well. So these aren't really award seats per se, but you're still able to book with it's not terrible. 33,000 United miles out of Newark to fly economy down there. I wouldn't say it's the best deal. I think some of those other deals are better out of Philly. But it's still an option if you do have a lot of Chase points or a lot of United miles, and you want to use those up, you can do that as well. And then you just do the same thing for the reverse, trying to fly back. Again, because we're booking one way here. But it would be a similar process for the return flight as well.
Very cool. So it sounds like the big keys for this are making sure that you are familiar with the alliances and the partner airlines, making sure that you know which partner airlines your credit card points transfer out to, and from there, capitalizing on any available bonuses and really just doing some math to make sure that you're getting a great deal.
Absolutely. Yeah. And anybody has any questions, just hit me up on Instagram or on YouTube, or find my email or something like that. And I'll do my best to get back to you, trying to get as many people down there as we can. I'm not going to be able to make it, but yeah, let me know if you have any questions, because it is a little complicated as you get to those like transferring things within One World Alliance. But hopefully that was a little crash course. And again, you can check out my YouTube channel as well for some more step-by-step stuff.
So Daniel, so if people want to learn more about this, obviously they can go to your YouTube channel. That is Daniel Braun, Braun, on YouTube, as well as you can check him out on Instagram. You also have an email newsletter as well, where you're keeping people up to date on upcoming bonuses and providing additional value content.
Yeah, I'll share that link with you as well for anybody that wants to sign up. We send out a weekly newsletter every Tuesday with one example of redeeming points miles, as well as some other general wallet tips. So my newsletter is called Braun's Wallet. We're going to be rebranding pretty soon to something else, but we have a lot of cool stuff coming up with that newsletter. So I'm really proud of that. We've got I think around 16,000 people in that newsletter. So go over there, join that as well. It's all free. Just trying to spread the word about points and miles and get people to do some cool travel, because it's changed my life. So I want to make sure everybody else gets to do the same thing.
Wonderful, wonderful. Last question for you, Daniel. Any predictions for Super Bowl Sunday?
You want to score or something like that? You want a score prediction?
Score, whatever. Score. What do you think how do you think the game's going to go? Is it going to be close? What do you think any
Ooh.
keys are? It's up to you.
I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be very much like it was 2 years ago. Going to go lock on the Jalen Hurts touchdown at some point. I'm going to say, whether that's tush push or something. He's always in the end zone. I'm going to take the birds. I'm going to go 30-23. I'm going to say a little lower scoring than last time, but I'm going to say something like that. I think they'll get it done. Maybe not by that much of a spread, but I think it's going to be a close game.
All righty. Okay. Well, Daniel, again, I appreciate you taking the time. Thank you so much for stopping by, and definitely go check out Daniel's stuff. It's awesome. It's all kinds of stuff. If you're at all interested in credit card points or personal finance, just generally, he's got really good stuff. So definitely make sure that you check that out. And thank you so much to everybody for tuning into the Bird's Nest podcast. You can support the Bird's Nest podcast by liking and subscribing to Bird's Nest Media right here on YouTube, as well as by sharing to your social media pages. You can also find us on SoundCloud, iTunes, Amazon Podcasts, Spotify, the Odyssey app, and iHeartRadio. Please visit birdsnestmedia.com for additional Eagles and NFL coverage. And if you feel so inclined to support us in a different way, you can find the link to our Patreon in the description below or at birdsnestmedia.com. Thank you so much for tuning in, and let's go Eagles.